Welcome to Empowered Transformation with your host, Christa Dawson. Over the next hour, you will learn about tools that will support your healing process and living a life full of purpose and joy. Now, here is Christa.
Hello and happy Moon Day to you all. I hope you had a great weekend, a great holiday. This is episode 12 of Empowered Transformation. Yeah, we are next week is our last week. And we'll be talking a little bit about what the future looks like of Empowered Transformation, or whatever it becomes. So today, the focus of the show, well, first of all, just the focus of this series has been around energy psychology and energy psychology tools. And in a nutshell, energy psychology encompasses modalities that help to cultivate the mind-body connection, understanding that the healing process is a multidimensional process because you are a multidimensional being. And talking is not enough, or talking alone. And so this series is intended to introduce you to a variety of modalities that are going to support you in the multidimensional process of healing. And today we're going to be learning about Chakradance. My dear friend Tabatha will be joining us again, and I'll introduce her in just a moment. And she's going to share with us one of her favorite modalities, which is Chakradance. It is a multidimensional modality. In other words, there are many pieces to it. And we'll use this not only to introduce Chakradance as a modality, but as a vehicle to open dialogue around some really amazing ways that you can contribute to your healing process through sound, through meditation. So I'm excited for today's show and the opportunity for learning that we all have. And before we go any further, and before I introduce Tabatha, let's go ahead and get intentional. So I'm going to invite you, wherever you are, to take a moment and just tune in. Tune into your body. Take a moment to tune into your posture, remembering that you're doing energy work all the time. And subtle adjustments in the smallest things can make an amazing, or help you shift how you're showing up in that moment. So I'm going to invite you to tune into your posture, aligning your head over your shoulders, visualizing a string attached to the back of your head, gently tugging up on the back of your head, elongating your neck. Chin is parallel with the floor, maybe even slightly tucked. Inviting your shoulders gently back and down, cultivating or creating a nice open chest or heart center, and stacking your shoulders over your hips. And I'm going to have you place your hand over your heart center. This is such a powerful way to bring you in to that heart and to your heart's intelligence. Yes, your heart has its own intelligence, literally has its own brain. So bringing your awareness into your body, into that beautiful heart center. And I'm going to have you rest your tongue in your mouth, allowing it to just completely relax in the floor of your mouth. You may feel it on the roof of your mouth or the sides of your teeth. That's okay. What's most important is that your tongue is completely relaxed. This activates the vagus nerve and the parasympathetic nervous system, or the rest and digest. It's impossible to worry when your tongue is resting on the floor of your mouth. The hard part can be keeping it there. So just tune in. Allow your tongue to completely relax in your mouth. And my intention for you for this show is that you learn something new today, that perhaps you add a tool to your arsenal, and that you leave this hour feeling inspired to stay in your process of healing. And most importantly, that you learn something that brings you into, or keeps you into it in a state of compassion toward yourself. You deserve it. And so I'm going to have you take a deep breath in through your nose, breathing in this intention. And a long, slow exhale out your mouth. Good. Arrive. Welcome. And with that, I'm going to introduce once again my very dear friend Tabatha. She is joining us from just outside of Portland, Oregon. She is a duly licensed marriage and family therapist and professional counselor in the state of Oregon, and is an associate of an ambassador for the Association for Comprehensive Energy Psychology, and has been since 2009. She is a peer-reviewed published researcher regarding the treatment of CPTSD and the transmission of complex trauma as well. She is the co-founder and host of the CPTSD podcast. And she provides clinical and spiritual services for people in her private practice and specializes in complex trauma, in energy psychology, human development, and potential. So she is an amazing resource for us to have on this show that is specifically geared toward energy psychology and this multidimensional process of healing. And so with that, welcome, Tabatha.
Thank you so much, Christa. I love being here.
I'm so glad you're here. This has been just such a pleasure.
Same
it
here.
Really has been.
Mm-hmm.
So Tabatha, Chakradance, it has become a very, a powerful modality for yourself personally, and has become a powerful modality within your private practice. So tell us a little bit more. How did you get involved in Chakradance?
So that's a great question. I love saying it, talking about that, because Chakradance was a breakout session at an ASAP conference that I went to.
So define ASAP for us.
Oh, right. Thanks. The Association of Comprehensive Energy Psychology. And so they have an annual conference. It's coming up again this year in May. So you can look that up if you want to go. It's okay if you go as a layperson. It's all right. So it was a breakout session, like something you do over lunch, right? And I was so enthralled with the process. And we didn't do the whole series. We did a dance. And so my experience with Chakradance started out with them playing amazing music that resonated in my bones. And then we moved in particular ways with some guidance, but mostly freeform. And I never forgot it. And so when I realized that I wanted to add a somatic component to my practice, I went looking for Chakradance, and that was about 2015. And I have been a facilitator since then. And I'll tell you what, Christa, whenever I want to do some upheaval in my world and figure out my new direction, I do a full course of all the chakra dances available for each chakra. And it doesn't usually go the way I expect it to go, but it does pop things wide open. So it's an amazing and beautiful modality. And
can you elaborate, just before we move on, you use the term somatic. Define that for us.
So somatic is basically body-based. Whenever we're talking about somatic things, we're talking about the body. And as you know, we've talked about on your show before that involving the body in the therapeutic process is required. It's not optional anymore. We've moved past that, y'all. So it is required. And you can do that a lot of different ways. Some people give themselves therapy by going for a bike ride or run. That counts. It's involving your body, right? And most people that have that experience find their mind clears while they're doing that type of somatic exercise. For me, I'm a little bit on the dramatic end. And so I like dance. And that's why Chakradance is such a good fit.
Nice. Okay. Love that. So thank you for defining this idea of somatic work. And that just is right in with the theme of this whole thing. Multidimensional process. You can't just talk your way out of healing or out of healing trauma. You can't talk yourself out of conditioned responses. There's many bits and pieces of unraveling that
Yeah. And I think just to reference therapy for a second, because that's my wheelhouse, talk therapy can be very beneficial. So if you're in the middle of that and it's working for you, perfect. Excellent. You don't have to change it. And at some point you will notice that you want to go deeper. And that's when talk therapy can't quite get you there because it doesn't involve your felt sense or your felt experience.
Right. Love that. Thank you for adding that. Okay. So tell us about Chakradance. We learned how you got introduced. Now define Chakradance. What is this?
Chakradance was created by an amazing, bright soul named Natalie Southgate. Please go look it up, look her up. She has won awards for Chakradance and its facilitation of healing on the planet. So Ms. Southgate came up, she's a dancer by nature, so that's the foundation right there. And she recognized that music and frequency and tone matter greatly to your healing. She also is a Jungian, I don't think she's a therapist, but she's a Jungian believer, meaning she loves the work of Carl Jung. And so that is integrated all throughout Chakradance. Fundamentally, what Chakradance is music that is created to elicit certain responses from certain chakras, both through imagery, because there is guided speaking that happens to get you through the process, but also through literally the beat that is happening in the music, as well as the tone or the frequency. And so, for example, when we're working in the root chakra, you are going to want it to feel more tribal and more small community, right? And so some of the beats are heavier, some of the tones are deeper. Whereas when we move up into the throat or into the crown chakra, it gets more etheric and then just flat out mystical by the time you're at the top of your head. So that's kind of how the music works. There's also meditations that are involved, one that you do before you do your dance, and then one after that is to activate all of the things that you just brought up. And the beautiful component that I love about Chakradance, not most, but I do love it, is we also create our own mandala. And that is where you take everything that came up for you, all your personal images, feelings, thoughts that came up during your dance that you do, and you put them into the sacred circle of a mandala. So it's a great psychodynamic exercise to pour out what's inside of you. The dance itself is self-led. And most people, when I facilitate, most people don't do huge, big coordinated dances. There's a lot of swaying that happens. Sometimes I'll notice people pulling their hands in like to gather something. So, it's not quite a static dance, but there are some commonalities.
So as you have heard, within this modality, there are many components. So having gone through this with Tabatha, she hosted a group online. Was that the first time that it was like a trial doing it online or virtually?
Yes, that was my first virtual one that you participated in. Yep.
Okay. And so
thank you for doing that.
It was my pleasure. And so what we experienced so I want to really break down the components now with a little more detail, but you just heard there are multiple components, and you do a sequence around each one of the energy centers, which I think would be a good time to maybe briefly define. Do you want to take this time to define the energy centers right now, just quickly?
Sure, we can.
Through,
you bet.
How do you want to present? So know that with each energy center, you're doing a sequence.
Right. Each energy center will involve a meditation and an activation. So those are for you to relax and let your mind work through.
Those are guided meditation, by the way, folks.
Correct.
It's all been pre-recorded, right?
Yes. And then there's the dance component, which also is pre-recorded for you to do in the privacy of your own home virtually. When we do groups, we meet wherever we meet, and then you get to keep your mandala, of course. And I encourage people at the end of the sessions to look through all of those and just look at what's come out of you. So Chakradance starts with an initiation, meaning we're going to kind of organize all 7 of your in-body chakras. And there are more than that, but that's what we focus on in Chakradance. We're just going to prime the pump, so to speak, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get you thinking about what you might want to focus on that first week. And then we'll move into the first week of actual deep chakra work. And we start with the root, or the first chakra. And the reason I think that is wise is because that is the place that helps you feel the most present on the planet, which is where most of your suffering is occurring, right? Mm-hmm. And so if we can get into that root and get some groundedness, it really helps the rest of the process. Mm-hmm. So did you want to say anything now about the root, or what do you think?
Well, no, it's hard to really get the full effect of the power of this modality without really breaking out each of these. So as being a participant in one of these, Tabatha, you listen to because mine was virtual, there was a lot of recorded material that gave you an outline of what each of the energy centers represents.
Yes.
And so tell us a little bit, Tabatha. So the energy centers represent layers of what? How would you describe just a general description of the chakra system and why somebody would benefit from using that as a modality for healing?
You bet. So I want to be really clear that what I'm saying now is definitely a Western viewpoint, and it is not necessarily the core of what the chakra system means where it was developed. So I would encourage people who are interested in this to do more research than America or the United States. But since we're here, what one really easy way to think about this is that as we grow as humans, different parts of us open up. Right. And the first thing that we need to feel confident that we can handle is simply being on this planet. And that's what the root chakra is about. I can do this. I am here. Right. And if that's blocked or overflowing, you can see how that might create other problems in other areas of your life. Right. The second one that opens up for us is right below our navel, and on that pelvic area. And that is really about our ability to create the life we want. Literally, it's tied to our gonads. And so it is about procreation, right? And in that also comes intimate relationships. So those 1, 2, or 3 relationships, not your acquaintances, right? The deeper relationships. You can find information about your experience of those housed there. Do you want to go on? Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna get ready to take our first break. So
okay.
We've just went through the first 2 energy centers. We will be doing a quick rundown of the next. When we come back, don't go away. We'll see you soon.
Follow Voice America at facebook.com/Voice America for juicy updates from your favorite radio shows and podcasts.
Are you tired of feeling stuck? Are you suffering from a chronic illness, addiction issues, lack of motivation, a negative mindset, and a lack of purpose? Do you dream of a life full of purpose and the ability to respond rather than react? And what if you could see yourself through the eyes of compassion while you're in the process of creating the life of your dreams? It will be a process. Dream Makers is designed to empower transformation from being stuck and unsatisfied to a life that is moving forward with purpose and joy. You will get clear on your dreams and the limiting subconscious beliefs that block you from seeing them through. You will learn and be supported in implementing tools that develop the mind-body connection and rewire your brain for success and mastery. Dream Makers is a 12-week online course with weekly live Zoom meetings, a book and workbook, access to accountability, and group support. Spots are limited. Experts say that if a person could do one thing to increase health and happiness, expressing gratitude would be it. Gratitude is an easy, attainable way to improve your outlook and begin rewiring your brain for resilience. You will learn the clinically proven benefits of a gratitude practice, why and how gratitude works to rewire your brain for resilience, and most importantly, a simple but powerful way to amplify your gratitude practice that will benefit your mind and body while improving your outlook.
It's your world. Motivate, change, succeed. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You're listening to Empowered Transformation with Christa Dawson. If you have questions or want to contact Christa, go to christadawson.com. Now, back to the show.
And we are back. We are talking about Chakradance with Tabatha Bird Weaver. She took us through just a really brief summary of the first two energy centers. We're going to briefly move through the rest of them, understanding that the chakra system represents different layers of who you are and your development. And it just gives you handles, something to really work with in your growth process. So go ahead, Tab, take it away.
Okay. Well, Christa, we were talking in the break about archetypes, and I think I'm just going to pop in an idea right here so that we can use it through the rest of these explanations.
Perfect.
So archetypes were created, not really created, but summarized by Carl Jung. They were created by humanity. Archetypes are unconscious relationships that we have with things around us that are common. And I know that may sound vague, but here are some examples. Every culture has archetypes, and every culture has pretty much the same definition of archetypes. For example, we all know what a hero is, right? We all know what a good mother is versus a bad mother and bad fathers. And so there are other archetypes as well. And I think this is where you really shine, and that is archetypes of seasons, archetypes of activities can be archetypes, right? We all understand what being industrious is and a worker. And so archetypes also change with time. We have new archetypes like the networker, which wasn't necessarily, it may come off of a foundational archetype, but wasn't really known before. And so I'm saying that because I want to back up and say the root chakra, one of the archetypes that goes with that is earth. It's solid. It's present. It doesn't move very easily. And that's kind of how we want to be as people. We want to be solid and present and willfully moving. We're moving on purpose, right? The archetype that goes with the second chakra is water. It's more flexible. It moves. It takes the shape of the container that it's in. It can also knock you to the ground if you've ever run into a sneaker wave on the coast of Oregon or anywhere else, right? And so as we move up into the third chakra, the solar plexus, this area is related to fire. And it's where two things happen. We take in what the outside brings to us, and we put it through the fire so that what we're left with is what we need or require. And so this is our area of competence. I feel like I can do this. Right? Moving up, we're going to come into the heart, and that archetype is air. Or I'm sorry. Yep, that's right. Air. I lost it for a minute there. Air. And that air is about dispersal, right? And so our love and our energy comes out from our heart, down our arms, and out to our hands, where we either hug people or do things to help the communal relationship, right? And it should feel light. And okay, so those are the elements as we know them on the planet. Now we're moving up into the throat chakra, which is all about our ability to express ourselves positively, negatively, however we need to. And this is associated with the archetype of ether. So it's not even air. It's just, I don't know how to describe ether other than ether.
It's lighter than air.
It's lighter than air.
Yeah.
So up here, we're moving up to the third eye, or the sixth chakra. And this is about mindfulness. And the thing about the third eye is a lot of people want to enhance their third eye for psychic visions, which is fine, but I'd go slow if I were you. Because you might see stuff you can't unsee, so to speak. But it is really about inward vision and about finding our path, right? And we're coming up here to the crown chakra, which is really affiliated with all that is. The image of this chakra is a 10,000 petal lotus. It's huge. And this is where we have the ability to understand that we are all one thing, and that we can impact the whole of humanity, the earth, by our own actions. And it's also where we connect with spiritual ideas and bring them into us to make them real. So that is my flyby summary of the chakras. I could talk about it for 8 weeks. So please go do your own research.
Right. This is a complex modality. So again, we're just glazing over the top of it. I feel compelled to draw the correlation or just draw attention to the fact that the first 3 energy centers represent you and your humanity here on Earth. The heart is the middle space, and then the upper 3 chakras represent your connection to the cosmos and the more spiritual aspects of yourself.
Yes.
And the same is true in Chinese medicine or just Chinese philosophy. They have the lower, middle, and high or upper heavens representing the same things, very similar. Again, multidimensional being, you have to address yourself from a multidimensional perspective.
Yes. And I just want to plug archetypes here because you hear the similarities between what we're talking about. It is also true that there are 3 cauldrons in Celtic chakra thinking. It's not chakra, but there's Celtic cauldrons. There are Native American systems of chakras. And so if you want to know about that, please buy the book, Subtle Energy, The Subtle Body by Cindy Dale. I got it. Yep.
Nice. So again, this is also these are great modalities for you to be exploring the energetic aspect of who you are. So these help, it's a tool for you to grow your understanding of your subtle body and how energy works in your body. So let's break down in a little more detail some of the components of this multidimensional modality. So what are the benefits of the meditations?
So the benefits of the meditations, I think the foundation for that in Chakradance particularly comes from the idea of active imagination, which was from Carl Jung. And, in your last episode, we were talking about how the brain doesn't know the difference between a memory and a present occurrence. It also doesn't know the difference between a present occurrence and future. And so there is a lot of benefit to envisioning what you want to become. And this is not the same as manifestation where you've got your board. I'm not dissing that at all, but this is more about you deciding what you're going to look like, how you're going to behave. And it leads you deeper into being your true self. And that active imagination can really prime the pump so that you can get there more quickly.
I love that. Meditation is something that we haven't talked, I don't think I've addressed at all, and is a really powerful way for you to drop in, whether you're finding people that are leading guided meditations. And so one of the purposes for this show is to encourage you, the listener, in your healing journey, find your local people that are making offerings, let's say, for example, with guided meditation or with sound healings, which we'll talk more about in detail in a few minutes. But it's a great way to take care of yourself. And meditation, so guided meditation is one of many ways that you can learn how to regulate yourself, grow your ability to focus, grow your ability to be aware of yourself and the inner workings of who you are. It is a fantastic way to grow your awareness of the witness or the soul center versus all of that internal chatter that goes on. And so these are great places to explore all of these parts of you and help you to cultivate that yi that we talked about with Master Lin, directing your thoughts, directing your intention. And all of these are cultivated skills that are made stronger by these practices.
Absolutely. And I don't know a single person that started meditating easily. It takes practice for everybody.
It really does. And there are so many different types. It can be very, very simple, choosing a focus or a focal point and continually bringing yourself back to that focal point. You will get distracted. It's inevitable. That's your brain's job, really. As you get better at it, then you find that you drop into moments of quiet, and you might set aside 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes for meditation. You may only drop into that quiet place for a very short period of time, but you are doing so much for yourself in just that few seconds or few moments of being in that place. So meditation as a very powerful, powerful tool, and getting you ready, really also helping you to get in this case with Chakradance, really guiding your interpretation of what you're really leaning into with each of the energy centers.
Yes. And I just want to pop in here, Christa, and say we're talking right now specifically about the guided meditation and Chakradance, and that's available. I mean, there are tons of apps that will give you guided meditations. There's also another part of meditation that happens in Chakradance, and that's the dance. Mm-hmm. And this is what I was talking about. People who love to go cycling or running, that is a meditative function. So if you are somebody who's been like, I can't do meditation and I'm never going to try, I relate. As somebody with ADHD, my favorite form, self-diagnosed, I just have to say that, my favorite form of meditation is moving meditation. So sometimes I'll go walk a labyrinth. I guarantee you there's something you can do in your area, a trail that you can walk. But also I go blueberry picking here. And when I am focused and I allow myself to get rid of that chatter and just find the very best berry in this area, I calm way down and it's beautiful. And of course I eat them as doing this. So it's a reward for meditation right there.
I love that. Thank you so much for elaborating on that. Meditation looks so many different ways. Mm-hmm. Yoga is meditation.
Yes.
Qigong is meditation. Tai Chi is meditation. Walking is meditation. So many layers or many ways to bring yourself into your body. And I absolutely love that. So with that, let's talk more about the dance.
Okay. I just want to pop in. I did, because I just want to pop in an idea, and I wish I knew who said this. And the idea is, if you need a special room and place to meditate, you're not meditating.
Interesting.
I know. I had to own that a little bit.
Ooh,
so
okay.
the goal of meditation is for you to be able to zone down in and be really present on demand.
I love that. So it's a vehicle to get you very well acquainted with that center, which we talked more in detail about 2 episodes ago. Mm-hmm. So that being really in touch with that center is so important. Thank you so much for adding that little bit. I love that. Okay, so let's talk about the dance component.
You got it. So the dance component is led. And so it's not led like take a left step now, it's led like you're in a beautiful temple. And you look around you and you notice whatever we're noticing in that particular dance. It's to help you have an experience of the vibe of that chakra, right? And so when we're looking, I'm just going to stick with the root because most people in the United States need a little support there, right? So if you're walking into a beautiful temple that has red walls, soft, beautiful red walls, there's a large stone for you to sit on. And then the beat begins and you sit there and you begin to feel the feel of earth. And when you're ready to move, you get up and you move however you want. I have not virtually, because virtually you do it independently, which I think is beautiful, right? You have all the materials to do in your own safe space. But when I've watched people move through the root chakra, some of us crawl like animals. I've seen people growl and scratch the air like they have claws. So it really gets you into that primal feeling. And if you can go there, who knows what you'll discover.
Again, having experienced this and other, we have a thing called Dance Church here locally. Periodically, literally, that's what they do. They set up they'll use a large venue. They'll have a DJ come in. And it is for the sole purpose of going and moving your body in whatever way feels therapeutic, whatever's coming out of you. Go and do that. Be in your body. And giving yourself permission to move in ways that feel supportive. It could be to gentle swaying. It could be rolling the spine. It could be bouncing up and down. It could be whatever it needs to be. It allows you to be creative and really allow yourself to feel through the experience. Again, another beautiful opportunity to really get in touch, not only with, what's going on in your head, but what's going on in your body, the sensations in your body.
Absolutely. And sometimes this happens most on the sacral chakra in my experience, but people are like, I couldn't get my hip to sway. I couldn't move it. And sometimes it'll take them three or four times before they feel like they can make a fluid infinity sign or 8 with their hips, because we've got stuff stuck in us, folks. And dance is one way to help it come on out.
Yeah. Yeah. I have often thought of this, the wisdom of indigenous people that, as they're getting ready to go into ceremony, they are dancing around the fire. There is a reason for that, people. It gets things, it gets energy moving. So powerful.
And community. It gets community moving. And that's one of the beautiful things about Chakradance, because I'm not sure, Christa, if you want to talk about your experience. I was worried that being online or virtual would break up the cohesiveness of the group aspect of Chakradance. How was that for you?
It was good. It's a new world. And the reality is, because so many of us are doing more virtually, but I felt very connected to the participants by the time, it actually didn't take long. 1 or 2 sessions in, you start really enjoying each other and enjoying the space we created together. And I have to say, I am one that's learning the value of co-regulation and the value of working with a community of people. We need each other. We require it. And so I loved that I had both. I had, we met weekly, and I had the benefit of community. And then I was able to do my personal Chakradance on my own, in my own time, in my dark space, in the way that I wanted to do it. And so I had the benefits of both, and I really enjoyed that.
That's beautiful to hear. Thank you.
And it would be really interesting to do it with other people as well.
It's powerful.
Maybe someday I'll get to do that. So we're coming up on our second break, and I want to, because this last piece that we're going to really talk about is sound. And this is such a powerful, it's just a really powerful piece. Let's get started on that, Tabatha.
Perfect.
Let's do a 2-minute start on that, and then we'll...
All right. Where do you want to start? Because sound is a huge healing topic. There are sound bowls. There are tuning forks, which have saved my life at one point, it feels like.
So let's elaborate on that in the next segment.
Okay.
Tell us, how do we use sound, or how do you use sound in Chakradance?
So sound is used a couple ways in Chakradance. First, it's providing dance music, right? So just on that simple, it's modern music, it's beautiful music, so that's enjoyable. And that's important, right? But also there are certain, as I was saying before, like the beat matters, because we will entrain to a beat, and that means we follow along with it naturally, right? It's why when music starts playing, lots of us start moving, exactly. We wiggle through it. But there's also the idea of frequency. And I think that is really where we're headed in the next segment. And there is studies done, not in the United States, but there are studies that show each chakra has its own frequency. And that frequency, you can correct any imbalances in the chakra using frequency. So I think those are the core concepts that are pure to Chakradance. Yeah.
Beautiful. So we're going to elaborate on the power of sound healing and frequency in our next segment. And we will also be coming back with the tip of the week. So don't go away. We will be right back.
A little birdie told me Voice America is on Twitter. Follow us at Voice America TRN.
Experts say that if a person could do one thing to increase health and happiness, expressing gratitude would be it. Gratitude is an easy, attainable way to improve your outlook and begin rewiring your brain for resilience. You will learn the clinically proven benefits of a gratitude practice, why and how gratitude works to rewire your brain for resilience, And most importantly, a simple but powerful way to amplify your gratitude practice that will benefit your mind and body while improving your outlook. Are you tired of feeling stuck? Are you suffering from a chronic illness, addiction issues, lack of motivation, a negative mindset, and a lack of purpose? Do you dream of a life full of purpose and the ability to respond rather than react? And what if you could see yourself through the eyes of compassion while you're in the process of creating the life of your dreams? It will be a process. Dreammakers is designed to empower transformation from being stuck and unsatisfied to a life that is moving forward with purpose and joy. You will get clear on your dreams and the limiting subconscious beliefs that block you from seeing them through. You will learn and be supported in implementing tools that develop the mind-body connection and rewire your brain for success and mastery. Dreammakers is a 12-week online course with weekly live Zoom meetings, a book and workbook, access to accountability, and group support. Spots are limited.
It's your world. Motivate, change, succeed. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You're listening to Empowered Transformation with Christa Dawson. If you have questions or want to contact Christa, go to ChristaDawson.com. Now, back to the show.
And we're back. And before we dive a little further down the sound healing rabbit hole, I'm going to, first of all, just take a minute to talk about what you heard in the breaks if you were listening. A couple of programs a program that I am gearing up to launch here again soon, a new improved Dreammakers. The purpose of Dreammakers is to support you in cultivating a personal practice. If you want to change, if you want to change your life, if you want to heal, it is going to require effort on your part, and mostly the effort of supporting yourself and taking time to really connect with yourself, if not daily, on a regular basis. And so this is designed to really help you cultivate some sort of regular practice. And so that's the purpose of Dreammakers. There's more involved. Obviously, I introduce energy psychology tools, among other things. So if you're interested in at the very least finding out more about it, you can go to my website and sign up to be put on a waiting list and to be kept in the loop on when that's going to launch. And also access to a free gratitude practice outline, which is gratitude is such a powerful modality. So this is a freebie for you, from me to you, and you can access that on my website as well, ChristaDawson.com. And so our tip of the week this week is one that I kind of hesitated on sharing, because when you're really in it and not in a good way, it's not an easy thing to do, but it's powerful. And so I'm going to offer some guidelines for you. And that is, your tip of the week is to put a smile on your face. And, I don't know if I had you do that today when we opened up. I'll do that when we end. When you're not really in it, I encourage you to explore that and how that feels when you're just having an ordinary day. And just take a minute to put a smile on your face and notice how it makes you feel. Again, the subtlest things that you do can alter or shift your energy and how you're perceiving things. So a smile is a really powerful way to shift your energy. And I know it can be hard when you're really in it, but I encourage you to play around with that anyway. And Tabatha is going to elaborate a little bit further with some research with DBT, which I'm going to have her explain to you.
You bet. So DBT is just a form of therapy called dialectical behavioral therapy. And a lot of people love it and a lot of people hate it. So, this is just an idea coming from there. That thing you were just talking about, Christa, where when you're really in it, it's hard to smile, is so true. And so here's a pro tip. If you can't do that, don't grimace. Don't do the please don't kill me grimace that looks like a smile. All right. what DBT discovered is that doing a half smile, just a little Mona Lisa smirk, it'll get you there. And it'll increase your ability to decide, no, I'm not going to embrace that way of feeling and experiencing. I'm going to choose to have a different outlook, which is what the smile does.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it. And just a little side note, if you are really in it, place your hand over your heart in that too. And just that light smile, and just turn that attention back into yourself. I am right here. I have always been right here. And even though I'm in pain, I accept myself and I'm right here. Do your little Mona Lisa smile. So thank you for adding that. I love that. Okay, back to sound.
You got it.
So we just heard that with this modality, each of the energy centers have their own music that has its own frequency that is tuned to each of the energy centers that you're addressing from week to week. Mm-hmm. So elaborate more on that. On this idea of frequency and sound healing, some of your experiences maybe with Chakradance or even outside of Chakradance.
I'll go outside of Chakradance because I got a couple of real winners. A beautiful friend and I went to a bowl healing, and this was a packed room. There were probably 300 people there. So that is a lot of people for a sound healing. And I tend to be more empathic. So I had to not be with all the other people, just with me. But the power of having that sound move through all of us at the same time was amazing. And I was simultaneously remarkably present in my body. I could almost see my veins and capillaries when I went to envision those really easily. But I also was etherically floating above in that witness position, not in a dissociated place. And that can be hard to discern when you're learning, right? So sound healing might actually be a nice place for you to start learning. Oh, I didn't even hear that music, so I was dissociated and checked out, versus, ooh, this is nice. I'm going to ride it and watch myself at the same time. So that's one way that sound healing can impact us. For me personally, one of the most relieving experiences I've ever had with sound came from tuning forks with a massage therapist. I had this knot in my left shoulder. It never left, ever. And through 3 sessions, we got that sucker out of there. And it's never hurt. I still want my shoulders to be rubbed, right? But it's never hurt to that degree. And so sound healing can impact you metaphysically and literally somatically, physically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I believe it was Einstein that said the future of medicine will be through frequency. So again, the power of resonance, vibration, sound is a powerful one. And so whether you do Chakradance or not, which I highly recommend that you do, but I also recommend that you find people in your community that are hosting sound healing events. We have an incredible community here in Chico. Some people that are so invested in supporting people and creating space for people to come. So I am confident that you in your community can find people that are hosting sound healings. They would be, if you've never done one before, sound healing can be done with gongs, mm-hmm. with Tibetan healing bowls, with crystal healing bowls. I actually really like using a drum. For me, sound healing with a drum is, I drop into trance states and with a drum in ways that I don't with the other modalities. For mm-hmm. me, that is a really powerful experience. And so when I do sound healing for my clients, it's frequently with a drum. So look for that too.
Absolutely. I'm excited about drumming because it will get you trained into yourself really, really fast.
Right, mm-hmm. right. So sound healing is an incredibly powerful tool. I highly recommend that you use that as a form of self-care. Find people in your community that are offering sound healing and go try it out. It's well worth it.
Mm-hmm. May I just add, if you can't afford that, because some people just can't, and I want to let you know that there are a lot of opportunities on YouTube and other places where people are doing sound healing that you can participate in on your own. Christa, I 1,000% back up finding community. That would be the ideal.
Right.
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 But maybe instead of heavy metal to get out your rage, you can use a little bit of gong therapy from YouTube.
Right. Yeah. And, this is actually a really nice place to address that. Be mindful of where you are. And if you're feeling dysregulated, you probably are not going to be best served by certain kinds of music, and better served by music that's going to help you calm and get back into your center, regulate your nervous system, bring your respiration down.
And this is coming from two women who used to be heavy metal lovers.
Right.
We've been to some monsters of rocks.
Yes. Yes. So I really do enjoy a broad spectrum of music,
yes.
But I also know full well the power of music and when it is not serving me.
Yes.
So, and also encouraging you to be mindful of what your body needs. Let's say you're feeling stuck, and if you're a meditator, you want to go and you think you want to go sit in meditation, when you may be better served by going for a walk or doing a moving meditation like yoga or qigong. So those super still modalities are not always going to be what you need.
Mm-hmm.
It's a balancing act. We need the sympathetic or the activation of the sympathetic nervous system. We're not intended, our inhales are activating the sympathetic or the gas pedal, and our exhales are activating our brake or the parasympathetic. And so we need them both. Mm-hmm. Balance is key. And so that is another part of your healing journey, is learning to be aware of what you need.
Yep. And it's a big part.
It's a huge part. And this is where, we had mentioned a couple of episodes back, that the healing journey will never end. It will never end. I don't care how evolved you get. You will never stop evolving. You shouldn't stop evolving. But if there is an arrival, it is in the fact that you can get good at addressing whatever comes up. You get good at knowing what you need. You get good at making that pain useful.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what you can look forward to.
What you just said about making that pain useful, it's really the difference between suffering and pain. Because
yes.
Life has pain. It's inevitable. And I feel like I'm quoting Princess Bride right now. But suffering doesn't have to continue.
Yes. So that's what this whole series has been about, are tools to help you out of suffering and into making whatever is happening in your life something that you can use for your benefit and expansion. Mm-hmm. So we are coming up on the end of our hour, darn it. Tabatha, where can people find you? When is the next Chakradance?
Chakradance is starting it's starting in May. And if you're interested, you can head on over to tabathabirdweaver.com, and it's right there on the front page.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. Any other place that people can find you?
That's the best place. I'm also on social media, but the hub is tabathabirdweaver.com. And please go check out chakradance.com, because even if you don't participate, there's a lot of helpful information and a chakra e-health checkup.
Ooh, love it.
I know.
Very cool. All right. And I am Christa Dawson, energy psychology practitioner, here at your service. You can find me at christadawson.com. I encourage you to go and subscribe to get my newsletter that keeps you in the loop. So my pilot series is coming to an end here with Voice America. We're going to be taking a break, and Tabatha and I are talking about continuing with our collaboration. We have really enjoyed this. And so our minds are going nuts thinking about all kinds of amazing things. We're talking about podcasts, we're talking about retreats, we're talking about all kinds of things. And so if you want to stay in the loop with what we're doing, go to either of our websites and get yourself signed up so that you can stay in the loop. You can also find me on Facebook at Christa Dawson Healing, or look up Christa Dawson, Energy Psychology Practitioner. So we're going to close here. And I'm going to invite you all again to tune into your posture. Rest your tongue in the floor of your mouth. Place your hand over your heart. Put a gentle smile on your face and feel gratitude in your heart for being here today, for honoring yourself and your process. I hope that you take away some inspiration and an added tool to your tool belt. Take a deep breath in through your nose and a long, slow exhale out your mouth. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to Empowered Transformation with Christa Dawson. We hope you have gained insight into the healing process and added tools to your tool belt. Until we talk again, have a beautiful week.